We've returned to Zoroastrianism, the religion of the good life, by Rustom Masani. Chapter 12, the final dispensation. Beyond the hope of a future life, for the individual, there is the idea of a glorious consummation for the whole creation. The Gathas refer to a period when the present cycle of the world will be completed, the process of creation will cease, and the evolution of the universe will have reached its destined goal. The world process will then come to its final consummation as contemplated and ordained by Ahura Mazda at the dawn of creation. Then will arise the last of the saviors, Sa'ashyant. He will consummate the work of purifying and regenerating the world, and completely removing every trace of the evil work of Angra Mainyu. All souls of the wicked will be brought from hell, and lustrated and purified at the termination of their sentence. The souls of the righteous too will rise. There will thus be brought about the Ristakhes, i.e. the resurrection. So is it Ristakhes? But certainly we are in an international age where it's possible that a prophet would have came and that message would have been preserved. And therefore there'd be no need for another prophet that humanity's got to follow, because the work of setting the example that would save humanity by their accepting it and go following it would be in place for them to see. Renovation of the world. Therefore the world will enter upon a new cycle, free from all evil and misery, ever young, ever rejoicing, all souls enjoying a life of ineffable bliss and glory. Then it is said in the Samyad Yash, He shall restore the world, and will never grow old and die, and never decay, and never perish, ever live, and ever increase, and be master over its wish, when the dead will rise, when life and immortality will come, and the world will be restored at God's wish. Thus will be consummated the triumph of Asha, or righteousness, or Druj, or wickedness. What becomes of Angra Mainyu, the father of evil? His fate is not mentioned in the sacred books. One may infer, however, that when once the rule of evil perishes, its originator is rendered innocuous. The ultimate defeat of Druj necessarily implies the defeat of the Archdruj, Angra Mainyu. Well, if the time where humanity can make a choice is over with, but in a way that would be basically saying that humanity's been more good than bad. Progress of the watchword of the creed. Correspondence with the divine essence and purpose of God cannot be reached without the attainment of the highest state of perfection, but it was the hope of the prophet that such a renovation of the world would come soon, even during his life. Progress, continuous progress, was the watchword of his creed. He was not unaware of the countless obstacles to progress that have been encountered at every stage, but it was his conviction that although it might be retarded at times, progress could never be wholly arrested. A Zoroastrian is thus buoyed up with the belief in the endless chain of boundless time. Human beings can contribute their share towards the establishment of the kingdom of righteousness on earth, none need feel appalled because he has to work in a circumscribed sphere, nor need anyone be staggered at the vastness of the work to be accomplished. Each individual life should add something to the sum total of the life of humanity. Everyone has to consecrate one's life and dedicate one's deeds to the good of humanity. The prophet's message of hope. This is the common aim that knits together man with man at all times and at all climes, and will continue to unite those that will inhabit this world to the end of time. But the unceasing efforts of the ages and the accumulated achievements of humanity, the desired object will at last be secured. The great world drama will then be over. The final curtain will be drawn on the conflict between good and evil. The ultimate triumph of good over evil will be secured. The kingdom of righteousness will be established. The good will live in a renovated world. And all this will come to pass through the exertion of mankind and his cooperation in this great task with the Creator. Hence religion. Thereafter, man will enter into the everlasting joy of Ahura Mazda. Such is the message of hope that the prophet of Iran has brought to this world from the Heavenly Father. Of course, the family language stuff not being literal when referring to God. And this I ask thee, O Ahura Mazda, the truth right is striving to further the well-being of his house, his province, his and his country. How shall he be like unto thee? When shall he be worthy of thee? What actions of his shall most appeal to thee? Clear is all this to the man of wisdom, as to the man who carefully thinks. He who upholds truth with all the might of his power, he who upholds truth to the utmost in his word and deed, he indeed is thy most valued helper, O Mazda Ahura. To him who is thy true friend in spirit and in action, O Mazda Ahura, to him thou shalt give healthful weal and immortality. To him thou shalt give perpetual communion with truth and the kingdom of heaven, and to him thou shalt give the sustaining strength of the good mind. And the Zoroastrian code of ethics is the next part of that. Knapra avor hemasta ashambaha kamnamasta ashambuh.